want to start my story from the moment everything shifted. The moment I heard a whisper so soft, I almost thought I imagined it. A whisper that felt like it came from nowhere and everywhere at once. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. I was standing outside the small church near my house. The sky was pale blue, the air gentle, and people were slowly walking inside. I wasn't in a hurry. I never was. Church had become the only place where my heart felt calm, like the world couldn't reach me there. I held my little notebook close to my chest. I wrote prayers inside it. Not fancy ones. Just small sentences like, "Lord, give me peace. Help me trust again. Show me where I belong." I never wrote, "Send me a husband." That prayer had stopped years ago. Love, relationships, marriage. I convinced myself it wasn't for me anymore. I had made peace with the idea of living alone. My world was small, but it was safe, predictable, quiet. But that day, something different was waiting for me. As I stepped up the church stairs, I saw a man standing near the door. A simple man, not dressed in anything fancy, just a gray shirt and clean jeans. His hands were folded politely, and he smiled as people entered. I had seen him before many times. He always stood there, greeting people. I barely looked at him. He was one of those quiet, unnoticed souls, gentle but forgettable. At least, that was how I thought of him. I didn't even know his name. But the moment I stepped closer, something deep inside me shifted. I can't explain it. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a vision or a dream. It was a whisper. Not outside my ear, but somewhere deeper, like a soft breath brushing the walls of my heart. A whisper so quiet I almost stopped walking. "That's your husband." I froze. My hand tightened around my notebook. For a second, I couldn't breathe. I looked at him again, slowly, carefully, as if I was seeing him for the first time. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow. He wasn't looking at me. He was smiling at an elderly couple, helping them inside. His movements were gentle, his voice low, his presence calm, like he belonged in quiet places. I felt something warm rise in my chest. A strange warmth, a trembling warmth. I shook my head quickly. No, not possible. Not me. Not him. Not now. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was my own tired mind playing tricks on me. I walked past him, keeping my eyes down. He nodded politely as I passed, but nothing more. Not a spark, not a sign, nothing that made him stand out. But as soon as I entered the church, the whisper came again, soft, steady, impossible to ignore. "That's your husband." My knees felt weak. My throat tightened. I sat down quietly in a pew, pretending to flip through my prayer notebook. But my heart was racing. I whispered under my breath, "Lord, please. Not this. Not now. Not someone I don't even know." People around me whispered greetings and settled into their seats. The choir hummed softly. The pastor walked to the front. Everything looked normal. But inside me, nothing was normal anymore. I kept my head down, but a single thought circled around me like a slow-moving cloud. Why him? Why now? Why this way? The truth is, I was afraid. Afraid of mishearing God. Afraid of trusting again. Afraid of opening a door I had already closed, locked, and pushed a heavy dresser in front of. But the whisper didn't feel like fear. It felt like peace. Still, I ignored it. I folded the whisper like a small paper note and hid it deep inside my heart. After the service ended, I waited until most people left before I walked out. I didn't want him to see me. I didn't want to feel that trembling again. But when I finally stepped outside, he was still there. And when he looked up, just a simple glance, his eyes softened. Not in a romantic way, not in a dramatic way, more like he recognized something in me. "Good morning," he said gently. I swallowed hard. Good morning. That was it. Just two simple words exchanged between two simple people. But something inside me whispered again. Not loud, not forceful. Just a soft truth resting in my chest. Your life is going to change. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. I didn't know why God would choose someone so unexpected, so quiet, so ordinary. But I felt it. The soft beginning of something written long before I could understand it. And that was the day everything in my life began to shift, quietly, softly, like the first breeze before a storm. That was the day I first heard God whisper, "That's your husband." And nothing has been the same since. For the rest of that Sunday, I walked around with a strange heaviness in my chest. It wasn't painful. It wasn't frightening. It felt more like something inside me had quietly opened. A door I never planned to open again. I kept replaying the whisper over and over. "That's your husband." Each time I remembered it, my heart tightened in a way I couldn't explain. I spent most of the afternoon in my small kitchen, making tea and pacing back and forth. The kettle whistled, but the sound felt distant. I poured the tea, added a little honey, and held the cup close to my face, letting the warmth calm my hands. I didn't want to think about that whisper, but I couldn't stop. It felt strange because I didn't even know him. Not really. I knew his face, his quiet smile, his calm presence at the church door. But that was it. I didn't know his name, his age, his story, nothing about him. Why would God whisper something like that? Why him? Why me? Before I go further with what happened next, I should tell you who I am, and how I reached a point in my life where a whisper could shake everything inside me. Who I was before the whisper. My name is Anna. I'm 36 years old. I live in a small, peaceful town where people greet each other by name, and the bakery closes early if the owner's grandchildren visit. Life here is slow, quiet, gentle. Maybe that's why my heart fits here so well. I live alone in a little house with pale yellow walls. My mother says it looks like a soft sunrise offering hope. I chose the color because I wanted something warm, something that would make me breathe easier when I walked inside. I wasn't always alone. I was engaged once. His name was Michael. He was kind, calm, safe. At least, that's what I believed. We were together for almost 3 years, and I loved him in a steady, quiet way. Not fireworks, just warmth. But 3 months before our wedding, he changed. He became distant, confused, unsure. One evening, he sat across from me at the kitchen table. His hands were shaking, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Anna," he whispered. I don't think I'm ready. I don't know if I ever was." He left a week later. The wedding never happened, and a part of me shut down after that. Not dramatically, just quietly, like a soft curtain falling in an empty room. People told me I deserved better. They said it was God's protection. They said I should thank him for removing the wrong man. But all I felt was emptiness, and embarrassment, and a strange shame that I couldn't explain. After that, I stopped praying for marriage. I stopped thinking about love. I stopped believing God had a plan for my heart. I built a simple life for myself. Work, home, church, tea, silence. A safe life. A small life. A life without risks. Which is why that whisper felt like a hand reaching into a part of my heart I thought I had buried. Who he was before I knew his name. You might expect that the man God whispered about, my unexpected husband, would stand out in some way. Maybe he'd be charming. Maybe he'd be special. Maybe he'd shine in a crowd. But he wasn't anything like that. His name, as I learned later, was Daniel. He was ordinary. That's the first word that comes to mind. Ordinarily dressed. Ordinary posture. Ordinary smile. The type of person you see every week, but never really notice. And yet, there was something about him. A softness. A quiet strength. A calm that didn't need attention. For months, maybe even a year, I had seen him near the church entrance, holding the door for people, carrying him books to the storage room, helping older members walk down the steps. Never loud, never dramatic, just quietly helpful. The kind of man you don't see until you need someone exactly like him. But back then, I never thought twice about him. He was just one of the familiar faces at church, like the elderly lady who always wore purple hats or the young couple with twins who cried through every sermon. If someone had told me then that God was preparing him for me, I would have laughed, or cried, or both, because he wasn't my type. He wasn't anyone's type really. He was simple, calm, almost invisible. But God sees differently than I do. The first small sign. The week after I heard the whisper, I tried to ignore it. I prayed about other things. I filled my evenings with small tasks, watering plants, washing dishes, reading old books. Anything to keep my mind away from the quiet voice that had settled inside me. But the following Sunday, something small happened. So small that most people wouldn't notice. During the service, the pastor asked if anyone could help with the community food drive. Sorting boxes, labeling donations, carrying bags. Usually, I didn't volunteer for things like that. I preferred quiet corners, background roles, tasks no one saw. But that day, without thinking, my hand lifted. And I wasn't the only one. When I walked into the church hall afterward, carrying the donation sheet, I saw him, Daniel, standing at a folding table, sorting canned food. Quiet. Focused. Alone. He looked up at the exact moment I stepped in. Not before. Not after. Exactly the moment. And his smile was soft, like he had been waiting for someone to walk in, but didn't know it would be me. "Hi," he said. "Do you want to help with the sorting?" His voice was gentle, almost shy. I nodded. Sure. We worked quietly side by side. No deep conversation. No sudden spark. No dramatic moment. Just two people folding cardboard and stacking cans. But something unusual happened. Every time I reached for a can, he moved his hand back so softly and quickly that I barely noticed. Every time I looked down, he stepped aside so I wouldn't bump into him. Every time I asked where something should go, he answered with patience that felt unusual. Most people don't notice these things. Most people don't pay attention to small movements. But God does. And slowly, gently, I began noticing him. Not as the man who stood by the church door. Not as the quiet volunteer. But as someone whose presence felt strangely safe. Like a warm blanket on a cold morning. I didn't understand it yet. I didn't trust it yet. But the whisper inside my heart grew steadier. That's him. That's your husband. And I no longer knew how to ignore it. The life I built to protect my heart. Before the story moves forward, you need to understand something important. I didn't want a husband. Not anymore. After my engagement ended, I rebuilt my life slowly, piece by piece, like someone repairing a fragile vase. Every piece was placed with careful hands. And once it was fixed, I didn't want anyone touching it again. That's why God's whisper frightened me. Because love meant vulnerability. Love meant risk. Love meant opening doors I had nailed shut. I had grown comfortable in my quiet routines. Wake up. Pray. Prepare breakfast. Work. Come home. Make tea. Read. Sleep. No surprises. No disappointments. No heartbreak. I wasn't lonely. I was safe. But safety can become a cage if you stay in it too long. And deep down, I knew that. Sometimes at night, I would sit by my window and watch the streetlights. Houses glowed softly across the road. Sometimes I saw shadows of families inside. Someone walking past a window, someone laughing, someone hugging a child. And on those nights, a small ache filled my chest. A quiet ache. An ache I didn't talk about. I told myself I was fine. I told myself I didn't want anything more. I told myself God's plan for me was solitude, peace, simplicity. But the whisper from that Sunday morning told a different story. A story I hadn't expected. A story I didn't think I deserved. A story that was just beginning. The following weeks felt strange. Not uncomfortable. Just different. Like something inside me had shifted. Even if the world outside looked the same. I still woke up early. I still brewed my tea. I still walked to work with my notebook tucked under my arm. But now, without meaning to, I found myself listening more closely for that whisper. The quiet one. The one that had unsettled me so gently. And every Sunday I noticed him a little more. Not because he did anything special, but because I had changed. Or maybe, because something inside me had woken up. His name. It happened on a Sunday morning, 2 weeks after the food drive. I was walking into church, trying to keep my head down, pretending I wasn't scanning the entrance, but I was. I saw him again, standing by the door, greeting people in his quiet, patient way. He looked up at the same moment I approached, and for the first time, he spoke to me directly, not as part of a group, not as a polite greeting, but as if he wanted to speak to me. "Good morning," he said, a small smile touching his face. "Anna, right?" My breath caught. He knew my name. I nodded. "Yes. And your?" He hesitated, almost shy. "Daniel." The name settled softly between us, gentle and steady, like the rest of him. Daniel. Simple. Calm. Familiar. He held the door open for me and stepped slightly aside, but not too far, just enough to make space, not enough to feel distant. As I walked past, he said quietly, "It was nice working with you last week. You're very organized." I wasn't expecting that. Compliments usually made me uncomfortable, but this one, this small, soft one, felt different. Not heavy, not flirtatious, just honest. I gave a little smile. "You too." And then I walked inside. But as I sat down, something small fluttered in my chest. It wasn't love, not attraction, not excitement. It was more like recognition, like my heart whispered, "Now you know his name, remember it." The small moments. Over the next few weeks, tiny things began to happen. Small, ordinary, but somehow meaningful. One Sunday, I reached for a hymn book, the last one on the stack. But right before my hand touched it, another hand placed a fresh stack beside it, his. He looked at me, slightly nervous. "I thought you might need one." Another Sunday, he held the back door open for me during the midweek meeting. Not dramatically, just gently. Another time, he noticed my pen drop from my notebook and picked it up before I even bent down. None of these moments were dramatic enough to tell a friend about. But they weren't nothing either. Every time something small happened, I felt God gently nudging my heart. "Look. Notice. Don't be afraid." But here is the truth. I was afraid. Afraid because I wasn't used to being seen. Afraid because gentle kindness can sometimes feel scarier than loud emotions. Afraid because the whisper hadn't gone away. Every time I saw him, it echoed softly, "That's your husband." And I didn't know what to do with that. My resistance. One evening, I sat in my living room, tea in my hands, the window slightly open so I could feel the cool air. I whispered, "Lord, why him? He is nothing like what I ever pictured. Why are you bringing him into my heart?" No answer came. Not a voice. Not a sign. Just a quiet peace settling on my shoulders. But peace is not the same as understanding. I still resisted. Quietly, calmly, like someone shaking their head slowly, while smiling politely. "I'm not ready. I don't want to be hurt again. I'm fine alone." But the whisper never argued. It never pushed. It never forced. It simply rested in my heart, steady and patient. And that patience frustrated me more than anything. Because patience meant certainty. And certainty meant change. Something inside me was shifting. But I held on to my fears like small stones clenched in my fist. I tried to convince myself that the whisper had been my imagination, a trick of my mind, a random thought. But every Sunday, something happened that made my heart soften again. Every Sunday, I found myself noticing his kindness in ways I couldn't ignore. And every Sunday, the whisper grew a little clearer. The first real conversation, the real turning point, the moment that stirred the first wave of conflict inside me, came on a rainy afternoon. I was leaving the church after a women's group meeting. The sky was gray, the wind sharp. Rain fell in steady sheets, hitting the pavement with a soft rhythm. I didn't have an umbrella. I had forgotten it at home. I stood just outside the church doors, holding my bag close, staring at the rain, telling myself it wasn't so bad, even though it was. And then I heard a voice behind me. "You'll get soaked." I turned. Daniel stood there, holding a black umbrella. His hair was damp from walking in from the parking lot. His shirt was slightly wrinkled. He looked almost apologetic. "You didn't bring one?" he asked gently. I shook my head. "I forgot." He hesitated, just for a second. Then he opened the umbrella fully and stepped beside me. "I'm parked just across the street," he said. "I can walk you there. Then I'll come back." And that moment, small, ordinary as it was, felt like a stone dropping quietly into a still lake inside me. No one had walked me in the rain in years. No one had even offered. For a second, I didn't move. I felt my heart tighten, my throat soften, something warm rise to the surface. But fear rose too. What if he gets the wrong idea? What if this means something I can't handle? What if I let myself feel something again? My chest ached with the weight of it. But before I could overthink it further, he gently gestured toward the rain. "Come on," he said quietly. "It's cold." His voice wasn't demanding. It wasn't confident. It wasn't assuming. It was simply kind. Kindness can be disarming in ways people forget. It can open doors you kept locked for years. I stepped forward. We walked slowly, sharing the umbrella. The sound of rain softened everything around us. Cars moved past, their lights blurry in the wet air. We walked close, not touching, just near enough that I could feel his presence beside me. After a moment he spoke. "I've seen you around church for a long time," he said. "You always sit in the same spot, near the window." I smiled faintly. "I like the light." He nodded. I figured. A pause. A quiet one. Comfortable, somehow. Then I said, "You volunteer a lot." He shrugged. "I like helping. It keeps me steady." Another pause. Then I asked, "Do you live nearby?" He nodded. "A few minutes away. I grew up here." A simple conversation. Simple words. Nothing dramatic. And yet, I felt something opening inside me. Something I didn't want to acknowledge. When we reached my car, he stepped back and lowered the umbrella. "Drive safe," he said softly. I looked at him for a moment. His eyes were kind, steady, honest. "Thank you," I whispered. He nodded once and walked back toward the church. I watched him disappear into the rain, and my heart whispered, not loudly, not urgently, just gently, like a truth settling softly. This is how it begins. The conflict inside me. That evening, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the rain. I saw the umbrella. I saw his gentle smile. I heard his voice, steady, calm, sincere. And I felt something I didn't want to feel. I wasn't falling in love. No, it wasn't that. It was something quieter, something older, something deeper than attraction. It was trust, or the beginning of trust. And trust scared me, because trust is where heartbreak begins. Trust is where risk begins. Trust is where losing begins. I sat on the edge of my bed, wrapped in a blanket, whispering to myself, I can't go through this again. I can't give my heart away, not even a little. But the whisper, the one that had shaken me weeks before, returned softly. You're not giving it away. You're letting me guide it. I closed my eyes. My breath trembled. My hands rested gently on my knees. I whispered back, Lord, I'm afraid. The answer came as a warmth in my chest. Not removing the fear. Not replacing it. Just holding it. And that's when I realized something important. Fear wasn't my enemy. Fear was my reminder that something sacred was happening. Something beginning. Something God-shaped. Something I didn't understand yet. But soon, very soon, I would. I woke up the next morning feeling strangely calm. Not excited. Not anxious. Just steady. Almost as if something inside me had finally stopped running. I sat up in bed, stretching slowly. The morning light peeked through the curtains, painting golden lines across my room. For a moment, everything felt still, almost sacred. I whispered, God, if this really is you, I trust you. But please make it plain. Little did I know, he was about to do exactly that. A chance encounter, or something more. I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The winter air was cool and crisp. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of morning where even the sky seemed to breathe slowly. As I turned the corner near the small neighborhood park, I saw someone sitting on a bench. At first I didn't look twice, but then he lifted his head. It was Michael. The same gentle face, the same quiet presence, the same feeling in my chest that I kept trying, and failing, to ignore. He looked surprised too. Then he smiled, that subtle, soft smile that somehow made everything feel warm. Didn't expect to see you out this early, he said. I shrugged, just clearing my head. He nodded. Me too. There was a pause, but not an awkward one. Just peaceful. He gestured to the space beside him. Sit for a minute? I hesitated for a heartbeat. Then I sat. And immediately I felt it. That strange ease, that quiet comfort. Not butterflies. Not excitement. Just peace. Some behind small cloud, he spoke first. Can I tell you something? He said, staring ahead at the trees. Sure. I've been praying about something. Something big. My heart fluttered, but not in a dramatic way, just enough for me to take a small breath. I don't know why, he continued, but whenever I pray, your name comes to mind. I blinked. He didn't look at me when he said it. He kept his eyes on the trees, like he didn't want to make it uncomfortable. Or maybe like he wasn't trying to pressure me. He was just being honest. I don't want to assume anything, he added quietly. And I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling the truth. My heart softened, because his tone wasn't pushy. It wasn't flirtatious. It wasn't dramatic. It was simply sincere. And sincere is a language I didn't know my heart still remembered. Seedling my guard begins to lower. I didn't know what to say at first. Finally, I whispered, I've been praying too. He looked at me then, slowly, gently, like he was afraid to misread the moment. And he asked. I inhaled deeply. Every time I pray, I feel drawn toward something. Something I'm afraid to accept. Something that doesn't make sense logically, but my spirit feels it. He didn't smile. He didn't jump. He didn't act shocked or overly excited. He just nodded, like he understood exactly what I meant. Sometimes the best things don't make sense right away, he said softly. The simplicity of his words made me exhale a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Leaf fluttering in wind, can I pray with you? We sat there for another few seconds. Then he asked the one question I never expected from him. Not here, not now, not in such a quiet corner of the morning. He turned slightly toward me and said, Can I pray with you? Not about us. Just for peace. For clarity. For whatever God wants. My throat tightened. Because that, right there, was the moment I realized something important. He wasn't trying to win me. He wasn't trying to impress me. He wasn't trying to claim me. He just wanted God's will. And suddenly, for the first time, I felt safe. I nodded slowly. Yes, I whispered. You can pray. He bowed his head. Ibold mina. And in the cold morning air, on that quiet little bench, under soft sunlight and the sound of birds waking up, he prayed. Not long, not loud, not poetic, just real, raw, honest, humble. A prayer that didn't reach my ears, it reached my heart. And something inside me shifted. Something deep. It felt like God whispered again, not in thunder, but in the smallest breath. See, I only send what leads you closer to me, not farther away. Of the moment I knew things were changing. When he finished praying, he didn't look at me right away. He gave me a moment. And that's how I knew this man was different. When I finally lifted my head, he gave me a soft smile. No pressure, he said. No expectations. If God wants something, he'll make a way. If not, he'll give clarity. Either way, peace first. I nodded, because he was right. It wasn't about rushing, or forcing, or guessing, or assuming. It was about peace. Peace that grows slowly, quietly, steadily. The kind of peace that feels like God's fingerprint. Crescent moon that night. The real sign came. I went home feeling lighter than I had in months. But that night, something happened. Something that made my heart stop. Something that made everything inside me soften with an almost painful clarity. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't searching for it. I wasn't even praying for a sign at that moment. But God sent one anyway. Feeling safe in ways I hadn't realized I missed. One evening, after a long conversation at the park, he said something that stayed with me. You don't have to pretend with me. Who you are is exactly enough. Those words touched a place in me I didn't know still needed healing. Because love, real God-sent love, isn't loud. It doesn't demand. It doesn't force. It invites. And that's what he did. Quietly, gently, respectfully. Sunrise the moment everything clicked. Weeks passed. Then one evening, we were walking by the lake during sunset. The sky was painted in soft pinks and golds, the water glittering like 1,000 tiny lanterns. I looked at him, really looked. His kindness, his patience, his faith, his steadiness, the way he never tried to perform or impress, the way he always covered our conversations with grace instead of pressure. And in that moment, something inside me settled completely. Not a spark, not a rush, not a dramatic aha. Just one simple, powerful truth. This is the man I prayed for, even when I didn't know I was praying. I felt it in my spirit before I even had the courage to say it aloud. God's whisper, the peace, the timing, the gentle unfolding. It all pointed to him. Crescent moon, the final sign. That night, as I was getting ready to sleep, I whispered, God, if this is really the man you chose for me, let my spirit rest in that truth. The answer came instantly. Not a word, not a sign in the sky, just rest. My entire being, mind, heart, breath, exhaled. And I realized, when it's from God, peace doesn't visit. Peace stays. Glowing star, how God sent me my husband. It wasn't through fireworks. It wasn't through a dramatic miracle. It wasn't through a perfect man or a perfect moment. It was through a quiet, steady unfolding. A slow revealing. A gentle whisper. A path that God illuminated one step at a time. Michael wasn't the man I expected. He was the man heaven prepared. And God didn't shout his promise. He whispered it. Soft enough for only a listening heart to hear. It took me time to understand. Time to trust. Time to walk forward. But in the end I realized, destiny isn't loud. It's patient. And when God writes love, it feels like peace.